Hi there, I'm Coach Kenneth.
And I'm Coach Victoria.
And in this video, we're going to be talking to you about 3 things that actually attract your ex back.
Yes, I can't wait to get into it, but before we do, I did want to say that Craig and I are available for coaching sessions if you would like a one-on-one on your situation. You can head to our website to book from there.
Absolutely. Okay, so when you're going through a breakup, it's so confusing. And one of the things that I've noticed is that it's really hard to stay disciplined when your ex comes back. And this is why a lot of people actually don't get their ex back, okay? A lot of people can stay in no contact and, not reach out, deny those urges to reach out, and they hear from their ex eventually. But then a lot of people don't stick to the strategies and ideas that we share in the videos. And some people don't even stick to the ideas that we say to them in the coachings.
Mm-hmm. And it's tough because part of your body, part of your mind is wanting them back so bad, and you feel like you need to take action. So it's hard to stick to a plan. It's hard to make the right choice, even if the right choice isn't what feels right all the time.
Yeah. So we got 3 major points here and some other points that are correlated. So let's get into this. This is going to be really helpful for you guys because these are 3 areas we see a lot of people make mistakes. All right. So mistake number 1, or the thing that you do that need to do, is that when your ex reaches out, stop trying to talk about the breakup. I know. I remember one girl broke up with me years ago, and it's like you can't stop talking about the breakup. And, I don't talk about this girl very often. This is years ago, even before the Applebee's girl. But we were at dinner, and it was like I couldn't let it go and be in the present to reattract. And I kept harping on the breakup, and she was an avoidant. So it just makes it worse.
And I'm sure all of you can relate to this on some level if you think about being in a conversation that you don't want to have. At some point, you have been held hostage by somebody trying to force a topic on you, whether it's them trying to sell their new perfume at the mall or whatever it is. You've been coined into a talk where you feel like, okay, I need an exit. I don't want to be here right now. And
you feel like a hostage.
Yes, yeah. You feel like you need some way to get out and to be in peace again. So that's what it can feel like a lot of times for exes. They've made this decision. It's taken them some time deliberating in their mind about it. Everything you've said, they probably have thought of at some point. So at this point, it's just about respecting their decision.
Yeah. So one of the reasons I think we get stuck is because the breakup is so traumatic. It's almost like we're caught up in a flashback of that moment, in that dynamic, that moment in time where you were with them trying to change their mind. It was so overwhelming for you that when you're even with them in the present, even if it's 6 months later, you're still back in that moment, right? And so, you got to realize you don't want to go back into that dynamic anymore. When you're in the present moment with them, don't stay stuck in that previous breakup dynamic discussion, feeling, and it could be really overwhelming.
And it's hard because many of you have ruminated on the breakup for so long.
Yes.
And so it feels like your entire life has been this breakup. And when you see this person that you've been so connected to, that your body is saying, oh, we recognize this person.
Yeah.
We recognize their scent. We recognize their voice. They're someone that we can trust. Then your mouth just starts to overflow with everything you've been experiencing because you want to share it with someone.
Yeah.
Now, thinking about where you are, it's a breakup, they've decided to end the relationship, the dynamics are completely different.
Yeah, absolutely. So, you may feel stuck wanting to talk about what went wrong and obsessively talk about those conversations that they complained to you about in that past. And a lot of times you're trying to fix the complaint that they had in the present moment. But just realize that's how they were feeling at that time. And they're probably not too concerned with that complaint in that present moment where you're meeting up with them again. Remember, after it's been some time. Okay, so you don't want to be stuck in that old dynamic where you're trying to convince them that you're going to change or that you have changed.
Yeah.
Right? And so if you had that traumatic moment and this intense discussion, and probably had several of them, next time you see them, it's like your unconscious wants to go back to those moments and kind of play out that difficult discussion and argument or topic. But you don't need to do that. You don't want to do that. Okay, the next big one is that you want to have a mindset that they need to earn you back. So often we get caught up in this idea of, how do I get them back? How do I get my ex back? What do I do? What can I say? How can I change their mind? How can I get them back? Because part of our issue is that we've been ruminating on our mistakes, right? Those 4 or 5 months we haven't talked to them, and we've been thinking about, how do we get them back? I've made all these mistakes. Now I have to show them all these changes. But you have to remember, and this is important, they hurt you. If they ended the relationship, they hurt you. And so if somebody hurts you, you have to protect yourself.
And this is huge because it's all about relationship repair. So the person who decides to end the relationship and says, hey, I can't do this anymore, it is their responsibility to pick the pieces back up again. You know, of course, you're also learning about attachment theory, doing your own part. But part of relationship repair is being able to acknowledge that there was an attachment wound. To be able to say, yes, this did happen. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about how it impacted your trust.
Yeah, and what I think happens is that we're so focused on what we did wrong that we just kind of ignored how they hurt you, how they let you down, how maybe they made mistakes in the relationship. But if somebody hurts you, the smart move is to back off and protect yourself. You are responsible for protecting yourself and defending yourself. And so a healthy mindset is to be reluctant, right? Not eager. Right. And a lot of people are eager. That's a big problem.
When you show that eagerness, you're basically saying, I will accept whatever treatment you give me.
Yeah. No matter how painful
right.
Yeah,
and many of you that I talked to, the breakup experience itself was very traumatic. You know, the way that it went about, maybe it'll be, you know, a decade-long relationship and the breakup is through text or something of that nature.
Yeah.
You know, so the breakup itself, how it's done is really important and can be, you know, a huge betrayal. You can feel like, wow, I didn't really even get a conversation here. I didn't even get to share my piece.
As a matter of fact, let me pause you right there. I had a guy this week, I never heard this one before. The woman packed up and left in the middle of the night. Just, he had no idea. She just up and disappeared. You can imagine the terror.
Yeah.
She packed her stuff and everything.
Wow.
So yeah, what you're saying, where they're not handling it in a fair way.
And we are all caught up on what we did. You know, was there a big mistake? Was there not? Sometimes there is, and sometimes there's something that you have to look at. But if that person is not communicating to you, then it's very difficult to work with. You know, we can't just assume. They are also responsible for sharing their piece. You know, and sometimes we forget about how bad the breakup hurt us in itself. You know, there are amicable, ethical ways of ending a relationship, and then there are some outright disgusting ways that people do.
Yeah.
So keep that in mind too. Evaluate and analyze the breakup itself and how it impacted you.
Yeah, so I cannot stress this enough. You should be reluctant and protecting yourself. And they ended the relationship, so they have to try and get you back. Stop being desperate. Stop being eager. Stop being so willing to take somebody back, because all it shows is low self-esteem on your part. It shows your attachment issues. It doesn't show confidence. It shows insecurity, whether you see it or not. And whether they know it consciously or not, it's going to project to them that you've got a low self-worth, they can treat you poorly, and that you're desperately going to tolerate it. In fact, you're going to be eager for it. And so you don't want to have that mindset. So part of what I'm saying here is you got to kind of hide your interest level. Okay? You're being reluctant. You're being reserved. You're protecting yourself. You want to see what they have to say. Not that you're not going to own up to what you did or own your mistakes, but you're going to protect yourself until you see that somebody's going to act like an adult and consider your feelings, and that they're, going to take those things into consideration, so you're just not going to get hurt again, right? It shows you respect yourself. And one thing that I've seen with people over the years is that they don't like easy. People want a challenge, because when they are with somebody they feel like was a challenge, they feel like they've earned it, they worked harder for it, and people value what they work for.
And they also get the sense that the other person has some boundaries. When you do meet someone and they are just ready to give you 100% off the get-go, you start to wonder, okay, is this how you act with everybody?
That's
do
right.
You just unselectively just share your love and your resources, your personality, your attention with everyone?
You don't feel special.
Right.
You feel like, well, if they'll be like that with me, they'll be like that with everybody. And then I don't feel too good about what we have that I thought it was special, because you'll be willing to give that to anybody that comes along. So it's a turnoff.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So don't be easy. Be a challenge. Make them work to get you. It shows a higher status. It shows more confidence. It shows higher self-esteem. And they're going to be less likely to leave you again, because they're working to get you back. And the more they work to get with you, the more they're going to value you. I had a woman I did an email coaching with recently. I don't remember how long the guy and her had been in no contact for, but after he came back, she hooked up with him like on the first date. In fact, we may have made a video on it. I can't remember. She wound up hooking up with this guy on like the first date, and immediately he lost his interest. And then he's like, oh, I only reached out because I wanted us to be friends again.
Oh, no.
But
no, honey.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying is, like, you don't want to give a guy what he may only be looking for in the moment.
Be cautious. Both men and women.
Yeah.
Be cautious.
Just make sure somebody's working for you. It shows boundaries, it shows confidence, and they're a lot more likely to value you and really appreciate you. Okay, we got one other major thing that you got to do to re-attract your ex. This is also important. You can't fear the outcome. This is huge.
This is so huge, and probably one of the most difficult ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It really is. But a lot of our behavior comes through this fear. If you're afraid of losing somebody, you're going to lose them. You're going to. Because you're going to unconsciously do a lot of unattractive behaviors that you wouldn't do naturally if you weren't afraid of it. So you don't want to be too attached to the outcome and what happens. It's not easy. Go ahead.
I was going to say, one of the great things that you've actually said in the past is focusing on what you do want versus what you don't want. And so many of us are so caught up in the fear, especially if you have more of an anxious attachment style. You might have a greater fear of abandonment. You've experienced the abandonment in the breakup, and you fear, if I don't get my ex back, then that abandonment continues. Being able to have that stance where you are focusing on what you do want. You're not putting the lens on the abandonment and what could happen and what could go wrong, but saying, okay, what could go right here? I know I want a healthy relationship. I know I want someone who wants me. I know I want someone who's willing to work at it.
Absolutely. Yeah, if you're afraid and you're scared, you're going to act unnatural. And if you think about it, a lot of times in the beginning of the relationship, it's the easiest because you're not really afraid of losing somebody because you haven't really attached to them yet. But once you get attached, all those fears and abandonment issues come out. That's why I'm always telling you guys, work on your attachment styles, heal those issues, because they're gonna come up with anybody that you date.
Right, and I'm also thinking of the analogy of walking on a beam, right? If you're walking on this beam and you are focused on the ground or focused on falling, what do you think is going to happen? And or what do you think is more likely to happen? Versus if you're going down this beam, you're focusing in the direction that you're going in, you're focusing on where to place your foot next, you know where your balance is at, you have a much better outcome naturally.
Yeah. So when you're in this situation and you're trying to figure out if you guys are gonna, get back together, you can't try and force it. You can't try and lock them down. And that fear of not getting back with them would cause you to do that. A lot of people want to lock that ex down right then and there. But your goal is to re-attract them. do this through confidence. Okay? And the confidence comes by showing that you can handle whatever happens. You don't need to force one way or another. And you can, keep your guard up, protect yourself, and see what are they going to do here, and take it slow. And even if they take it slow, you're confident enough to say, well, if we work things out, great. But if we don't, I'm going to be great too.
Right. And we also mean to say that you probably will experience fear, sadness, confusion, rejection, all of these things. And all of these emotions are important to acknowledge and process. And we have so many videos on our channel that talk about this very process.
Yeah.
So keep on working at it slowly and surely. In this video, we're talking about how to present to your ex.
Yep.
So I just want to make that clear.
Yeah, these things really do help you re-attract your ex. And when you can get in front of your ex in a confident, relaxed way, you will see the energy shift, okay? As opposed to having this energy of fear, trying to lock them down, trying to have, stay stuck in the past dynamic. You're presenting almost like you did when you were the most attractive to them, okay? But if you don't work on your attachment issues, you're likely to make all these mistakes that we talked about.
Yep.
All right, so hopefully this one's been helpful to you. If you want to get our help personally, you can do that on my website, askcraig.net. I do email coaching and I do Skype. Coach Victoria is also available for Skype coaching.
I'm here whenever you'd like to chat.
Just click on her name at the top of the website to schedule with her. You could also get my workbooks and creative healing course on the website. They'll help you along your way. But that's it for this video. I'm Coach Craig Kenneth.
And I'm Coach Victoria.
And we will talk with you soon.